All right, guys, welcome back. So what I want to do today is talk a little bit about, I did a video not long ago, one of my first sort of returning videos to the world of online bass instruction, talking, whatever. Talking about the sort of old school funk shapes, right? The old school funk kind of permutations, right? Using the root, the octave, the seventh, and then using the 3, 4, sharp 4, 5, that kind of shape. And what I was thinking about talking about today is something that I think is a very valuable exercise, and I've talked about this before, and especially in your practice, but it's also going to be important in your ensemble playing when you get hired to play with somebody, or when you're trying to come with a bass line. What a lot of times we do as well, not even as beginner bass players, sometimes just as you know, our inclination is to want to play a ton of notes and play all over the place. And sometimes that's exactly what is called for. That's very appropriate. Like, you know, certain tunes just have a lot of you know, bass player all over the place notes. But sometimes it's also less notes, or how you're playing those notes, that the band, depending what kind of band you're in, but that the band's going to want to hear. And it can also add dynamics to the tune that you're playing when you can break things down and still groove. And so what we're going to do today is talk about just limiting yourself to 3 notes, or if you want to, you can call it 4 notes. Because if you want to call the octave its own note, then go ahead. But in a way, you're just doing 3 different notes, right? The root, the 5th, and the 7th. And so if we take like a basic blues progression, like let's take like a C type of blues, like C7, C dominant 7, up to 4, there's a chord, then the 5, G7, F7 to C7. Okay, easy, right? Simple. Now, let's just force ourselves to come up with grooves, come up with bass lines on those chords, but not straying from the root, the 5th, and the 7th, or the octave, or adding the octave, right? So C would be our root, G is our 5th, and our flat 7 is going to be B flat, the dominant 7, what makes that gives it that tone, that sound. So if we've got, now it'd be easier with a backing track, and one of these days I'll get more sophisticated and be able to add that, but you can record, you know, chords, or yourself playing those chords. But if we got 1, 2, 3, 4. So, not only did I restrict myself to those notes, but I restricted myself on the bass, where I was going to play those, right? So if we stay with, we can change the groove, like make it a little bit more. Getting a little closer to that James Brown popcorn vibe, right? But this is your drill, right? So then you can maybe start doing things where you're changing the octave at times, right? So if we're on the C, 1, 2, 3, 4. I cheated and I just played a little walk up from the E and the A. I can't even help myself. But see, there you go, right? So this, I don't know, I just think this is good practice to limit yourself, to restrict yourself to a box and try to make it as creative and as groovy as you can, as funky as you can. or whatever type of music you're doing. Again, I tend to gravitate towards more the funk, the groove stuff. But there it is, right? It's just figuring out and then come up with different bass lines around. You got a metronome or a drum machine, even better, right? I'm playing heavy on the 5, and then when I went up to the G, I dropped down. Instead of going up to the 5, I played the octave below. So you see where this is going, right? If you can get comfortable with those notes, different permutations of the notes that I'm playing from root to the flat 7. Right? There's a groove. So moving around the neck. So again, if you're a beginner, then I would really get down on one position, then try to branch out, because now you're getting that fretboard knowledge, right? You're getting more and more smooth with your transitioning. Plus you can change the timbre, right? Because some tunes, like if I can, you know, depending on what the style is, like this is gonna sound, now I'm playing, sorry, a D, right? Versus just a little bit different. But that being said, if I play here, I have access to those lower notes a little bit easier for my hands. I think it's good to practice both ways so that you're not, you know, you're not as limited. But so try that. Grab some, you know, maybe you can record it yourself. Get yourself a progression, or even if it's just one chord, and or listening to a tune, and see if you can just come up with limiting yourself within the 1, the 5, the 7, and the octave, and then start changing your position on the bass and changing the octave of those notes and see what happens. Because then when you start adding passing tones, you know, then it's just going to be icing on the cake. Once I'm right, just a little passing tone down to that next chord. Messing around, but you see how you can start playing with the passing tones a little bit. So anyways, guys, there's some ideas for you. Let me know what you think about that. If you got any questions, don't forget to like, subscribe, and throw me some ideas. Tell me what you're working on or where you're at as a bass player, or what you'd like to learn, who you're listening to online, because there's some great instructors out there. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next time.